We got Steve Merrill here, as we always do every Thursday. He breaks down all the major college football games for us, not just here on the LSU channel, but across the board on our Voice of College Football network here on YouTube. So check out those videos as well. UAB LSU, Steve, your thoughts about the Tigers coming off a win against Arkansas, and still they are headed toward the SEC championship game regardless.
Yeah, so, normally you'd say, hey, this is a terrible spot, right? It's like they really have nothing to play for here in this late non-conference game. But they're climbing up the rankings. I mean, this is a team, a couple weeks ago when the playoff rankings came out, they were ranked 10th in the playoff rankings. And I believe they were like 17th and 18th in the AP and the coaches poll. And this was the one team I thought actually was deservedly higher in the playoff rankings than, say, like Tennessee, who was 1. They were a lot lower in the coaches poll. They were like 2 and 3 in the other polls. TCU last week obviously showed maybe they deserve to be 4. They still are. I don't think they're the 4th best team. Now they're 4 in the AP after not being there recently. So I do think LSU deserves to be top 10. They're up to number 6, though. And the reason I mention that is because even with the 2 losses, I guess there's still a path. Tennessee would probably have to lose. Obviously, Ohio State, Michigan will have a loss. I don't think they would drop below them with 1 loss. TCU definitely could still lose. So TCU loses at any point. LSU's 5th. Tennessee loses. LSU could end up 4th here. So they have a lot to play for. With that said, I don't think they necessarily have to win, by more than 3 touchdowns in this game. So it is a potential flat spot here. UAB is a quality opponent, though, obviously, as a looking at the line here. It's not like a 3 or 4 touchdown spread like we see in a lot of these meaningless non-conference, late season games here. I like to rely on my math a lot as a starting point. My database simulation has LSU winning by 20.5. 10,000 simulations over half the time they're winning by 20 and more points. And like Michigan, who we talked about on the Michigan channel, LSU has been vastly underrated in my database all season, and I've used them quite often successfully as best bets for my clients at wagertalk.com. So I don't think they take their foot off the gas, and I actually think we get some value here. Would have liked it at 14 or less. 14.5 is such an ugly number. 14 is a key number, but 20.5 is where my math is. I think LSU wins this one by at least 17 to 20 points.
Steve Merrill, wagertalk.com. Get on over there. The NFL, college football, and the NBA is up and running, and you get his exclusive under-the-radar selection for us at the Voice of College Football community on Patreon. Search MarkRogersTV. Steve is 10-1 against the spread. Steve, thanks for stopping by as always.
Thanks, Mark.